The world as we know it depends on a delicate balance, a balance frozen in ice. Ice is more than just water trapped in solid form. It's a protector, a preserver, and in many ways a timekeeper of Earth's history. But what happens if all that ice melts? What if the vast sheets of Antarctica, Greenland, and glaciers from every mountain range disappeared? How would our world change? Today, we're exploring a reality that is closer than you might think, one where the ice vanishes, leaving behind a planet transformed. Let's start with the facts. Ice covers about 10% of Earth's land area today, but it holds over 60% of the planet's fresh water. Antarctica's ice sheet alone stretches over 14 million square kilometers, with some areas reaching depths of over 2 miles thick. Greenland's ice sheet? Another massive reserve, containing enough water to raise global sea levels by 7 meters, or about 23 feet, if it melted completely. Add mountain glaciers, Arctic sea ice, and other smaller reservoirs, and we're looking at a total sea level rise of around 216 feet if all the ice on Earth disappeared. That's not just catastrophic, it's apocalyptic. Entire countries would disappear. The United States would lose cities like New York, Miami, and New Orleans. In Europe, London, Venice, and Amsterdam would vanish beneath the waves. Island nations like the Maldives and Kiribati would cease to exist entirely. And this isn't just hypothetical, it's happening. Greenland alone loses over 280 billion metric tons of ice each year. Antarctica, nearly 150 billion metric tons annually. But rising seas are only the beginning. When ice melts, it triggers a chain reaction across the planet. One of the most important effects is the loss of Earth's reflectivity, or albedo. Ice reflects sunlight back into space, keeping the planet cool. When it melts, darker surfaces like water and land absorb more heat, accelerating global warming. This feedback loop is a silent accelerator, one that feeds on itself. The warmer it gets, the more ice melts. The more ice melts, the faster it warms. It's like a runaway train with no brakes. And then there's the issue of frozen methane. Beneath Arctic permafrost lies one of the planet's most dangerous secrets: vast reserves of methane gas. As permafrost thaws, this greenhouse gas is released into the atmosphere. Methane is over 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide at trapping heat. If released in significant amounts, it could tip the climate into an irreversible state. If all the ice melted, the geography of our planet would be rewritten. Let's take a closer look at what that would mean. Asia, home to over 4.5 billion people, would see devastating impacts. Major cities like Shanghai, Bangkok, and Jakarta would disappear. In India, the flooding of the Ganges and Brahmaputra river basins would displace tens of millions. In North America, cities like Los Angeles and Houston would be gone. And in South America, parts of Brazil's coastline would vanish, along with the low-lying regions of Argentina and Uruguay. Let's put this in perspective. Imagine every single person living near a coastline, about 40% of the world's population, forced to move inland. That's over 3 billion climate refugees, all competing for limited resources in space. The human impact. Mass displacement would be just the start. Freshwater supplies would be severely affected. Glaciers act as natural reservoirs, feeding rivers like the Ganges, Yangtze, and Colorado. Without them, billions of people would face water shortages. And then there's agriculture. Rising sea levels would flood fertile farmland, while shifting weather patterns would make growing crops unpredictable. Some regions would face drought, while others would endure relentless floods. This is the cruel irony of a warming planet. It punishes the most vulnerable first. The poorest nations, often those contributing the least to climate change, would bear the brunt of its effects. The collapse of ecosystems. Now let's talk about ecosystems. The Arctic is warming nearly 4 times faster than the rest of the planet. Polar bears, seals, and other species adapted to icy environments are losing their habitats. But it's not just the Arctic. Mountain glaciers feed rivers that support entire ecosystems. When those glaciers vanish, so do the rivers, and so does the life that depends on them. And coral reefs, already struggling due to warming oceans, would face additional stress from rising sea levels and changing currents. Entire marine ecosystems could collapse, triggering a domino effect up the food chain. Learning from the past. Earth's history is written in ice. By studying ice cores, scientists have uncovered periods of warming and cooling over millions of years. During the last interglacial period, when global temperatures were just 1 to 2 degrees Celsius warmer than today, sea levels were 20 to 30 feet higher. But here's the difference. Back then, changes happened over thousands of years. Today they're happening in decades. Can we prevent it? The future isn't set in stone or in ice. By transitioning to renewable energy, reducing emissions and protecting natural carbon sinks like forests, we can slow the melt. But the clock is ticking. Every year, we delay action, the ice melts faster and the challenges grow more severe. The choices we make today will determine the world we leave for future generations. A final thought. The question isn't if the ice will melt, it's how much and how fast. A world without ice is more than a possibility, it's a warning, a glimpse into the consequences of inaction. The ice may seem eternal, but it's not, it's melting, and so is our time to act. What do you think? Could humanity adapt to a world without ice? Share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. Together we can explore the possibilities and the responsibilities of shaping our future.